Okay, let's move on. The first nama is Adrishya. Adrishya means
Adrishya.
Adrishya. Okay, with not a lot of emphasis on the, is it? Adrishya. Okay, is that right, Srinivas?
Adrishya, not Adrishya.
Okay. Adrishya, not A. Okay, wait. Adrishya, without an extra Aki matra.
Yeah.
So Adrishya means who is unrevealed, hidden, that is not easily perceivable. We know Drishya means perceivable. So Adrishya is she is invisible, or we can take it as she who cannot be perceived through biological eyes or any other senses. She can only be realized in consciousness, as she is so subtle and is beyond visual perception. We could take it that way. And in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad explains the situation. You cannot see what is the witness of vision. You cannot see that. Basically, what they are saying, I guess recently I had listened to Sri Ravi Shankar's answering somebody's question, right? They were asking how can we realize Brahman? How, basically asking him to describe. So he was giving us an example as if you are asking a person who is blind and who is deaf to describe, from their birth, to describe how things look like outside or how sound feels like. That's how all our discussions are going to be. So it is beyond our perception. You have to really meditate and realize what our Maharishis have discovered. And same way here, it is her form cannot be realized through our biological eyes. We need jnana drishti and can only be realized through meditation. So, anything else to add on to that?
No, not really.
Yeah. Okay. Next nama is Drishya Rahita. She transcends visibility. This is an extension of the previous nama, Adrishya, Drishya Rahita. It can also be said that the previous nama refers to her Kamakala form, and this nama refers to her Kundalini form. She is in the form of supreme knowledge that is beyond comprehension. So, if you Rahita, what is the meaning of that? Is deprived of, bereft of, absent. So we can take it in two different ways. Who cannot be seen, who is beyond visual grasp, or who has nothing to see. As she is omnipresent everywhere, there is no second entity, right? So in Advaita philosophy, therefore she has nothing but herself. So who has nothing to see is one way to see it, or who cannot be seen is the other way to take the meaning for this nama. And yeah, so this is all these this whole sloka, this line is all about Drishya, Adrishya, Drishya Rahita. The next nama is also continuation, is Vijñatri, right? She is okay. Anything else to add on to the previous nama?
No, the first meaning is interesting. Yeah, I thought typically, I think if you take literally, Drishya Rahita means who cannot see. Yeah.
Who cannot see?
Yeah.
Who cannot be seen, you thought?
No, who cannot see. She has nothing to see. Yeah, that meaning is more, it's literally, but
Drishya Rahita, yeah. Because she is everything, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Objectified.
What is it, Shyamji?
I said she is beyond objectivity. She cannot be objectified.
That is the second meaning. She who cannot be seen or explained through vision or whatever.
Yeah, to see something, that thing should be different from you, right? So in that sense, yeah, she has nothing to see.
He who has nothing to see. Yeah.
So she won't see anything because she herself is everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we cannot see her. We cannot objectify her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That is the other way to where you can interpret this nama as we cannot see her because she's absent, who cannot be seen, who is beyond the visual grasp is the other way this can be interpreted.
Okay.
She cannot be an object. That's what I think it means in scheme. Because to see there has to be an object, right?
Yeah.
So the object is she cannot be an object. That's why she's she's not an object. That's the result. We cannot objectify her, and so she's beyond that, beyond the object.
Here, yeah. And if you take Purusha and Prakriti also, right? Even in there, she is the unified form of both. Here, at least in Lalita Sahasranama, we are talking it, taking the Advaita philosophy. She's the Shiva Shakti Aika Rupini.
Shiva Shakti Aikya.
Yeah, Aikya Rupini. The next nama is Vijnatri. What is that? Vijnana is science, knowledge, right? So Vijnatra is knower, one who understands. So the feminine form Vijnatri, she who knows, the omniscient, right? Who knows everything. She is the knower. She knows all. Knowing it all is an exclusive quality of Brahman.
Yeah.
And through what should one know that? Owing to which all this is known. Through what should one know the knower? Is what Brahman is. Here, that and knower mean the Brahman. A self-realized person could discriminate between real from unreal. There remains only the subject, which is absolute without a second. She is that absolute form and embodiment of knowledge. So she knows this, and that is the knowing it all is the exclusive quality of Brahman, and that is what Vijnatri is. Anything else to add on to this?
I think it's also salutations to her, who is the ultimate subject.
Ultimate subject. Yeah. Yeah. So the next nama is Vedya Varjita, right? Vedya Varjita. So she has, what is that? Vedya means to be learned or understood or knowledge. Varjit means with exception, excluded is what Varjit means. So Vedya Varjita means who surpasses knowing and knowledge, whose presence is beyond knowing and not knowing. Vedya Varjita. So she's an exception to be a subject of understanding, knowing or not knowing. She's beyond that. Is what she has nothing to know. Again, a quality of the Brahman. She's omniscient. This is an affirmation to the previous nama. Vijnatri, Vedya Varjita. But if you take about Varjit and Vedya meaning together, she's excluded from what is to be known and what is to be known. In other words, she's beyond knowing and knowledge.
I think it also says salutations to her who, being omniscient, has nothing more to know.
Nothing more to know.
But she knows everything.
She knows everything. She's omniscient.
So
has nothing more to know.
Yeah. This is directly the meaning of the Vijnatri, right?
No, this is about Vedya
Varjita. Yeah, in
being omniscient.
Vijnatri also they says the she who
Yes.
knows everything, omniscient knowledge.
Yes.
Here, you're saying the same thing, right? Oh, Vedya Varjita also. Shamji.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
This is what my book says. Salutations to her who, being omniscient, has nothing more to know.
More to know. Yeah. Nice. So the next nama is Yogini. Yoga is union or of self with divine, right? Yoga also means the paths that we can take in our life to understand, the ultimate knowledge. But here, yoga is interpreted as union. Yogini is she who is yogic epitome, she who is in union with Sadashiva. She is in the form of yoga. She stands united with Shiva. Yoga is the process of harmonizing body, mind, and soul with an intent to free the soul from bondage that leads to final liberation. Final liberation of the soul is the emancipation of salvation. This nama could also be referred to yoginis who preside over the 9 avaranas, the roundabouts, basically the roundabouts that we have around the Sri Chakra, right? That is the avaranas. There are 9 avaranas. Yoginis are also referred to a particular time effect in Indian astrology. Yoginis, like Dakini, control 7 chakras of the cerebrospinal system. That has already been discussed before. A few Dakini and all that, Dakini, Rupini. We had discussed these yoginis. So like that, so here she's she's the prime yogini, is what they're saying. And yeah, I guess she is the ultimate example of one who has, who's beyond. If you take Mata as a person who has attained emancipation or salvation, she's one of those yogini, epitome for that, because of her union with Sadashiva. Okay, next one is Yogada. Again, refers to the previous nama, Yoga Dha. Right, Dha means to give, bestow. Whenever Dha is added to something, it means that is being bestowed. Here, Mata, who graces that knowledge, experience, and power of yoga. Yogini, Yogada. She can be, she is the giver of yoga. You can say that. In Krishna, the state, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says the state called yoga, which is free from contract of sorrow, should be known and should be resolutely practiced with an unwearied mind. Yoga is the control of the urges, modification, or tendencies that arise out of the mind. Here they're talking about all the different yoga that Krishna refers in, Bhagavad Gita, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, and all that. But yeah, here when we say Yogada, here is basically Mata who bestows such yoga, the union of soul with God by her grace. And then the next, now, anything else to add on to this?
No, giver of, yeah.
Yogya means, eligible is the very common meaning. But here Mata, who is perceptible through yoga, is what the interpretation is. Or she, in other words, one who is attained by yoga. She is yoga herself, is what the first nama was. The next nama is she is the giver of yoga. Here, she can be attained by yoga, is what we are saying.
The object of yoga.
What is it, Shyam?
She is the object of yoga. That's good.
object of yoga. Okay. Yeah, exactly. That is the destination. So yeah, I guess in the same line, the next nama is also Yogananda. She is in the form of bliss that is attained through yoga. The ananda that arises out of yoga, Yogananda. She who is the bliss attained through yoga. Right? And so we derive bliss when we attain her. Till the stage of bliss, two different objects are required. And if one transcends bliss, there exists only one, no second. It is said that the stage of deep sleep is a typical example of bliss, where one is totally disconnected from the external world. Internally, the mind alone ceases to function, and all other biological organs continue to function. This stage is called Yogananda. Narasimha avatar of Vishnu is also known as Yogananda. Interesting. That's why we call Yoga Narasimha. Anybody knows about that? Narasimha avatar is called Yogananda. Yeah. Yogananda is the combination of Ayoga plus Nanda. Ayoga means without attachment. It is imperceptible or it is never perceived. It is imperishable because it never decays. It is unattached because it is never attached. Nanda refers to the river Ganges. Nanda also refers to her birth to Nandagopan. Srimad Bhagavata, it refers to that. River Saraswati at the foot of Himalayas is also known as Nanda, it seems. Nanda also refers to certain lunar days. Nanda also means happiness. Then the name means that she remains in the state of bliss without any attachment. This could also mean that one can attain that state of bliss if one remains unattached to the materialistic world. Yeah, Yogananda. I guess, there's if we keep on saying to ourselves, I am nothing, I don't want anything, I am, if you keep on saying that, you basically remove your identity with anything around it. And that way, that's what they're saying, basically, once you remove that attachment to the materialistic world, you go back to your original state, which is the state of supreme bliss. Anything else to add on to that? Yogananda?
So many meanings for the Yogananda.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting, I always thought why Narasimha is called Yoga Narasimha. I know he sits in the pose of, in a particular pose, and that's why I thought he is, you call Yoga Narasimha Swami. But also it means Narasimha Avatara is also called as Yogananda, which it seems because he is in that state, constant. Anything else to add on to this?
No.
Okay. Yugandhara, Yugandhara. Well, this nama. There are two extensions. One is Yugandhara. Yeah, just Yugandhara is the end. Yuga means a time period. What is, how can we break it into different pieces? Dhara means to contain or bear. Yuga is yugas, we know, the time period between eras, like Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga. So those are all the yugas. So Yugandhara is who wears or controls, the yugas, is what the meaning is. Who controls is one, who bears, or bears, I mean, who gives birth to, maybe, But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm guessing that is the interruption in meaning of bearing all the 4 yugas. Each well, at the end of this, well, she's a controller of time, but so she's also the source of all these yugas. We could say that, or upon her are all these yugas is another way to say. In this context, the word yugam means connection between 2 objects of the same group or a pair. That is also another meaning of yugam. Connection between 2 objects of the same group or a pair. If you take that meaning, it can be said that she connects Shiva and herself. So they are, that connection, right? The connection is what they are stressing upon, the Shiva and Shakti's connection. But anyway, so those are the 3 different meaning of Yugandhara. But yeah, Mata who controls the yugas, who bears the yugas. Okay. Anything else to add on to that?
We call it Yugandhara. Dhara is one who supports. So, who supports the burden of all the yugas.
Who supports all the eras.
Yeah, holding.
Support meaning nourishing.
Vasundhara is like Vasundhara is something that supports. So
yeah.
Here I think in yoga, she is regulating the evolution during the past periods of time. So she upholds all the yugas. You could say that.
Dhara support, it also says it to contain, to bear, B-E-A-R.
Both these are there, but I think Dhara is the Dharana. Dharana is the same. This is about even Dhara is she supports the refuge in the yugas, different yugas, past periods of time.
Giridhara is also Dhara.
Yeah.
Dhara. So
Giridhara.
who holds the mountain.
Holds the mountain.
So the act of holding is dharana, right?
Dhara, yes.
Yeah, or even wearing something.
Dhru is the root, root word is Dhru.
Holding or single focus. That's what they say.
In Telugu also we say dhara dharinchuta, where the wear meaning comes there. To wear.
Wearing, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Yugandhara. That's what that means. So the next nama is Icha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Swarupini. Icha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Swarupini is all one. So who personifies the energy of Icha, which is will, Kriya Shakti, action, Jnana Shakti is wisdom. So any macro or micro developments need to be conceived and desired initially. It requires the right knowledge to implement and then the actual accomplishment for its fructification. So she's
Jnana, the power.
What is it?
After Icha Shakti comes Jnana Shakti, then Kriya Shakti. So,
Icha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, and Kriya Shakti. Okay.
Yes.
The will is there, and then the wisdom needs to be there, and then you need to have the action. Okay.
Action,
yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that is why they are in that order. Icha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Swarupini. These energies form Trishikas, it seems. Trishika, Ishika means analysis of 3. 3 means, Ishika means Ishwari, the power abiding in divine consciousness. She is the control of all triads. Tripura Sundari, everything, all the thing triads, she's the Ishwari. And then the supreme consciousness on the point of expansion according to her inherent nature is Icha Shakti. The supreme divine consciousness on the point of expansion. Anything that expands, right? inherent from that supreme is Icha Shakti. There is an energy of the willpower, will energy, whatever we call it. The actual process of expansion is called Jnana Shakti. The process of diversity leading to the creation of the universe is Kriya Shakti. So what they are basically trying to compare this with the creation of universe, which is the Kriya. The expansion, the process of expansion of the will is Jnana Shakti, and that point from which everything expands is Icha Shakti. So that's Tantra Loka says that when Kriya Shakti is accomplished in the phases represented by Icha Shakti and Jnana Shakti, supreme reality of Shiva is realized. Okay, that's compared to the inner manifestation. So, that who personifies the energy of will, wisdom, and action, Icha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, and Kriya Shakti. So, in Lalita Sahasranama, right, in this book, Icha, Kriya, Jnana is there, which is wrong, right? It's actually the order is Icha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Swarupi. Is that how it is written in all your books?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So the book I have has it reversed, which is a mistake. Okay. Anything else to add on to this?
I think the supreme consciousness, Parabrahma, many desires, the first desire was Eko Ham Bahusyam. So, I am one, want to become many. Then came, because Brahma means expansion, as we have this expansion. That's the root, root word. So, so the next thing, obviously, Brahma became the knowledge, and then Kriya is the third one, which is the actual action. So, essentially, first the thought that he wants to become, because he was only one, and he decides that he wants to be many. So that's the thought. Then the next one is, because it requires knowledge for that. So then Jnana Shakti came, and then from Jnana came when okay, this is how the cosmos is going to expand, and how then how it is going to be done. That is the Kriya. Power of action. So there are three powers. One is the first is power of the view, and then power of knowledge, and then power of action.
Power of action that is needed for it.
Right.
Yeah, for anything to be.
First thing is that the concept has to be there, thought has to be there, will has to be there, then the concept of thought has to be there, and then the actual action. So you have to work on it to be able to make it manifest.
They are giving a recipe for the different phases.
Yes.
Also can be achieved. So we have to take this as for our Lalita Sahasranama Parayanam, for our own benefit. The will needs to be there, and we need to understand the Lalita Sahasranama meaning behind it, and then the chanting part of it, is the actual process. Once you understand the meaning, knowledge, when we chant, somebody was saying why Lalita Sahasranama is also called as actually called as Lalita Rahasya Sahasranama. People have left that Rahasya. It's not that it is very secretive. It's just that people can actually make mistakes if they don't chant the namas properly. If they break it in the wrong places, it can lead to papam and all that. So you need to understand it and pronounce it properly, and that's why they used to restrict in ages ago. Anyway, yeah, that is my comparison of these three phases to my Parayanam of Lalita Sahasranama.
Very nice.
Yeah. So next one is Sarvadhara, right? Well, this is very straightforward. Adhara is base foundation. She who is the basis for everything, right? So Sarvadhara. The next nama is Supratishta. What is Supratishta? Pratishta is very Pratishta. One is to stand firmly, it seems. Pratishta. But I thought Pratishta is to do something, maybe. But yeah, I guess
installing something.
Installation, yeah, that is the word I was looking for. Installation. Prana
Pratishta.
Pratishta. That's where here stand firmly is also called as Pratishta. So Supratishta is who is well established, is the firm foundation of everything.
Yes.
Supratishta. She is the foundation of all existence.
Correct.
Supratishta, yeah.
What is it, Shyamji?
Foundation of our existence.
What is it, Srinivas?
I'm just wondering which one is the right word for Pratishta. Is that installation or invoking?
Yeah, here.
Pratishta is the firm foundation. You place the, when you say in the morning, in the puja, you have the Pratishta. The Pratishta mantra is there.
Yeah, Vigraha Pratishta is different. Vigraha, when you use that with Vigraha, it is installation. But when you say Prana Pratishta, that's not installation, that's invoking the life energy.
Invoking.
Invoking the prana, invoking the life into the.
Yeah, in a physical sense, it's installation, but in a esoteric sense, it is invoking a kind of.
Invoke the presence of the prana.
Prana, firmly, maybe we could take it that way, because it says forming things, the foundation of forming the foundation.
When we after the puja, after the abhisheka, we install the vigraha into its place, then there is no pratishtha. So, prana pratishtha is essentially invoking the life, bringing life force into it, prana, into the vigraha. But pratishtha is essentially installation, or is essentially the firm foundation of existence.
Yeah. So basically, you are firmly invoking into the idol and all that, right? Here, when they say Supratishta, means she is the foundation, right, of all the existence. And why Supratishta is being said is she who is well established. Like she has been firmly founded as the source of everything. Does that make sense? She is the firm foundation of everything. Supratishta is like, it's not like action of pratishtapana or action of installation, but it is she is the foundation. This a very good foundation, firm foundation of everything, every existence.
Su is Shubha, is good.
Yeah, auspicious. Su is auspicious.
Yeah.
Auspicious foundation of everything.
In the puja mantra, Supratishthayam Supratishtham Astu.
What is it? Supratishta Mastu.
Supratishthayam Supratishtham Astu. That's when you, after the puja, after the abhisheka, when you of course dry up the image of the Lord, and then you put it, then that's it. There is a Tarasam Brahmana, Tadagnisha, Yorasam, Bhyavigavasyatam, Kashi Mahiga, Pratishtam, so that mantra is, and then says Supratishthayam, Supratishthita Mastu.
Okay.
Nice. So the next nama is Sadasad Rupadharini. Sadasad Rupadharini. What is that? I guess It is very much related to this one. So
Sat, Asat,
Asat,
Sat, Asat, Rupa, Dharini.
yeah,
So
Sat, Asat is
Yes.
truth. Asat is untruth. Dharini, bearing, like same way how we have Yugandhara, same Dharini here,
Sat,
bearing
Asat
or
is
wearing. She who holds the forms of both truth and false, permanent and non-permanent. So she is the in the form of Sat and Asat, permanent and non-permanent. There is nothing permanent except the Brahman. Therefore, Brahman is Sat. All are impermanent except the Brahman, and therefore the universe with all its existence is Asat. Okay, she's in the form of both permanent and impermanent. Whatever it is decaying, right? That is what they are saying, which is Prakriti, isn't it?
Sat,
Whatever
Sat,
decays.
yeah, Sat is, that's the permanent or the continuous being, and Asat is the which it changes,
Yes.
which is not, permanent. So that's Sat and Asat. So permanent and impermanent, those are the two things.
Sat Asat,
Yeah.
Sat Asat Rupa Dharini.
Yes.
So
So
in
she's in
the
she's in both of the rupas.
in the book, when they write this, right, here there is no extra Aki Matra. It's Sad Asat Rupa Dharini, right? But that's how the meaning is actually Sat Asat Rupa Dharini.
No, Sada Sad. So you have to say the Sandhi. So Sat Asat Rupa Dharini.
Sat Asat Rupa Dharini. Is that right?
Yeah.
Sat Asat Rupa
Yeah.
Dharini.
Rupa
So
Dharini.
it is the form of both being and not being. So being is permanent, like Brahmana said, and the non-being is the when that changes, when that constantly, is born, lives for some time and dies. So that's non-being.
So I will quote. There are a few quotes I thought. Let me quickly say that in Taittiriya Upanishad, at first there was no world. There was only Brahman.
Yes.
The world was then in Brahman, who was unmanifested. The world with all its names and forms then manifested itself. So that only Brahman is there, right? That is Sat, and all that names and forms then which manifested later on is the Asat. So the exact wording of the Upanishad is Idam Agre Asat by Asit, it seems. I don't know if I'm saying it right because it's in English, not in Sanskrit. Idam Agre. So those that are the words in Taittiriya Upanishad. Chandogya Upanishad. What proof is there for this that from nothing something has emerged? Is the question. Before this universe came into existence, there was only one existence without a second. Sage Patanjali says, verbal delusion follows from words having no corresponding reality. This Nama says that Asat came into being from Sat, or the universe came into existence from the Brahman. The Brahman is known as Shiva, then the universe is known as Shakti. There is no difference between Shiva and Shakti. Impermanence follows permanency, or Asat follows Sat. Sat and Asat coexist. If they do not coexist, then there is neither Brahman nor universe. Sat and Asat are human perception, but in reality, they are not different. Asat is the mirror image of Sat. It's more like that how we need Prakriti to realize Purusha, right? That you need that reflection to even realize that soul. You need that, right? So that's similar meaning they're saying, isn't it? Asat is part of Sat because it is with Asat, which is the mirror image of Sat, that one can that Sat is realized. So, in other words, Asat and Sat cannot be separated. Sat is the Sat. From Sat comes Asat, and if there is, there cannot be only Sat alone. If there is a Sat, Asat is going to follow. Is what we are saying.
Sat is necessary for Asat to exist. Sat doesn't
Sat is
need
necessary
anything to
for
exist.
Asat to exist.
Yes.
What he's saying is the opposite is also true. You need Asat to
Opposite
realize
also,
the
yeah.
self-realization. You need this.
Asat, the Sat has to be there because consciousness has to be there
Yeah.
for it to exist, for the Asat to exist.
So, so even in Sankhya philosophy, right? I think Asat needs to be there to realize Sat, isn't it?
Yes.
So,
Prakriti, you know, that's the Sankhya philosophy basically.
Correct.
And then,
so, so in the same way here, Asat will follow Sat, and that is what she is. She's
but Advaita is put it different way. There is no Asat. Basically, Asat is an illusion. Anything that is insentient doesn't exist at all. What is permanent is permanent. It's always there. What is impermanent is not there anytime. It's only a temporary phase of illusion.
Yeah.
It's a slightly different way of looking at things, I think. But I think human experience is that what we see, is a reality, So that's why more practically is Sankhya and dualistic, but if you go deep, it is an illusion. It's a reflection,
mirror image of Sat, right? It's an image of Sat.
Like a Sat has to be there as a consciousness for Asat to exist. Purusha and Prakriti.
Yeah, you need Sat to experience Asat.
Right?
And you need something, an object to experience that Sat, right?
Yeah.
So, and she's the form of both, is what they are saying. Even they are referring to Shiva and Shakti, but here Lalitambiga is the form of both. Nice. Okay, I think we went over time, but this is the end of the two slokas.
Deepak, you said something about Shiva and the Shakti.
Yes. So they are saying Shiva is compared to Purusha or Sat. Shakti
compared
is
to Purusha.
Yeah, compared to Purusha or the Sat.
Okay.
And Shakti is the universe, the Prakriti or Asat that follows from Sat. So, and then they are saying this Shiva and Shakti coexist. If they do not coexist, then there is neither Brahman, there is no universe. So, Sat and Asat are human perception, but in reality, they are not any different. Asat is just the mirror image of Sat, which means Shakti is just the mirror image of Shiva. That's what we are saying. Did that make sense? I know it's very difficult.
Yes.
Yeah, difficult to understand.
It's difficult. That's why I wanted you to repeat that one.
Yes, but yeah, I think it's all like you have to get into that constant remembrance of this philosophy. And like how they say, right, you have to get into the you have to as you keep on thinking about it, when you go to sleep, you have to remember about different states of awakeness, sleep, deep sleep. You keep on paying attention, then you will merge, you will realize that there's something beyond all this. Same way here, I don't know why I'm saying that example, but I feel the Sat and Asat. Asat is not something different. It is just a direct consequence of Sat. And for us to easily imagine, we have given them a rupam of Shiva and Shakti.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Right?
very
For us
interesting.
to, and I think the Linga Swarupam or whatever, it's a union of Shiva and Shakti. And we need to remember that constantly.
Yeah. It's very, very
Mhm.
something to think about it.
Purusha and Prakriti, the same thing in Sankhya philosophy says that Purusha and Prakriti, these are, they came from, of course, from Parabrahma. So Parabrahma is, so that's why it is Dvaita.
Right.
What was the last word you said? That's why?
Dvaita is,
Dvaita, yeah.
in Sankhya
No,
philosophy,
I'm thinking,
that
I don't
Dvaita is
know, please don't
Purusha and
be
Prakriti.
compelled to leave. I have never understood Vishishta Advaita of, Ramanuja. I guess over the first Advaita came, Vishishta Advaita came later on, right?
Yes.
So as time progresses, philosophers will refine the philosophy, right? Is Vishishta Advaita backwards? I don't,
Doesn't no, I don't think so. Like as we brought.
Ramanujan.
Yeah, Ramanujacharya came up with Vishishta Advaita, right? Vishishta.
Yes.
I didn't understand. I read about it, but I spent only little time. What were you saying, Srinivas?
Whatever comes latest doesn't necessarily is refined.
Refined, right? See, that's what I was thinking, Ramanujacharya is very recent, right? And
no, not recent. He's exactly 1,000 years, right? That's why that event is happening in Hyderabad. The Ramanujacharya.
But he should have learned about Shankaracharya's Bhashyam.
A lot. There are deep discussions. I think there is Sarvapriyananda's lecture is there. How Visishta Advaita he rips off Advaita. He takes a point and again there is a counter argument is also there, of course. But basically there are many flaws. He looked at differently. So he questioned many things. How the Maya exists. It cannot, if there is only one, where is the Maya coming from, that kind of stuff. So for him, it is also kind of a qualified monotheism, right? It's not like same thing, but it's a part of everything. It's everything together becomes that Brahman. The God is there, but this creation is also part of him, kind of thing. Without that, it won't be complete. That's the difference.
I think the difference is that Advaita it says that it completely rejects the idea of the cosmos or whatever we see.
Yes.
Because
Jagat Midya is Advaita.
So it is not part of, the only Advaita is the only, that's it says that only Parabrahma. But what is the human, understanding of things is that you have, of course, you cannot say that we are seeing all of this. Of course, it came from, Purusha Prakriti. Purusha has to be there with the Prakriti for this to manifest. So this has manifested. It is part of, the Almighty Lord, and that's why the Dvaita, Vishishta Advaita came. But it says that it all came from that Parabrahma. I think that's what I understand. Then Dvaita came. Then of course Madhvacharya. Then he said no, the Jiva and Shiva they cannot get together. Jiva and Shiva, they become together in Advaita. And same thing with Vishishta Advaita also. The two get together.
Okay, Dvaita is the one they never get together. But,
if it is the Madhva philosophy, they say no, there are these two. Jiva and Shiva are separate. Shiva and Jiva cannot become together. They cannot become one.
Yeah, for me, it makes Advaita the most sense. Like even what we are seeing now, Sat, from Sat comes Asat. It makes sense.
Yeah.
And like mirror image and all that makes sense. All of a sudden everything gels, but it is still interesting how all these are questioned.
Yeah.
The main thing is the Chaitanya. Chaitanya consciousness, the consciousness. Chaitanya is the most important aspect of this whole creation. Because Chaitanya is the Parabrahma, original consciousness, supreme consciousness. But at the same time, the Chaitanya is that presence of Chaitanya is necessary for the Prakriti to function, for the Prakriti to create a cosmos. So, the Chaitanya presence has to be there. In the presence of Chaitanya, Prakriti can function.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Definitely, I guess.
That's what Bhagavad Gita teaches us. But ultimately, Parabrahma is the only, only entity with Satchidananda. Sat is essentially permanent, or Sat, which is not, it's totally permanent. Then Chit is the Viveka, and then Ananda is the bliss part of it.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's our consciousness. It's in the form of Chaitanya. We don't have the experience, so we cannot really.
We can, it's difficult, but I guess all these. That's why we have
different philosophies are there, different ways of looking at, different interpretations are there, but ultimately it is a one reality, that's for sure.
The good thing is the Advaita philosophy is inclusive of the philosophy of Dvaita.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, it says that one is Purusha and Prakriti, but eventually, they are. Shankaracharya says no, right? But then in Advaita, at least you say there are two, and one will realize the other, right? You have a process to reach that Aham Brahmasmi stage. I'm just thinking, in Advaita philosophy also, there is one person who is considering himself in the beginning stages of spiritualism that he's separate from God, and then he gets to the realization by constantly remembering that he, he's not different from God, and gets there. So there are different phases of development of a person. And I am thinking that Advaita is inclusive of, recognizes that, but you're saying it is not.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you, both of you.
Yeah, thank you. I know we'll keep on going like this. Thank you, and we will.
Thank you.
Continue.
Thank you.
We should really look at it what Vishishta Advaita is, because
yes, I will look at it.
He proposed, Vasudhaiva Kutamukam. He said that all of the jivas, everybody is, is part of it.
That's what the Gita says, right?
Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam.
Yeah.
Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, it came from Ramanuja.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I will read up. And you said Sarva Priyananda's lecture is there.
He was